Hey, welcome to today's episode. Today, we'll be looking at if God already knows the future. Do our choices really count? Do our choices really matter? Why are we making choices if God already knows the future? Now, I would like you to subscribe to this channel, share this video so that other people can watch, and make sure to like. Comment when you have questions, and comment if you appreciate what we are doing. All right? I would want to share a few points with you. You see, the relationship between God's sovereignty and man's choices are complex. And so I've broken down what I want to share with you into points. And I would like you to follow as we progress. Number one, the Bible teaches that God is all-knowing and sovereign, knowing the future and having a plan. God is all-knowing and sovereign. He knows the future and he has a plan. In Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 10, the Bible says, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times, things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. This is God talking. In Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 11, the Bible says, in him also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestined according to the purpose of him who works all things according to the counsel of his will. So God is all-knowing and he has a plan. I want you to take note of that. The second point I want to drive you to is the fact that the Bible emphasizes human responsibility and the importance of making choices that aligns with God's will. So the Bible emphasizes that humans have responsibility, but that we must make choices that aligns with God's already existing will. You see, God has a will. We have choice. We have to make sure that our choices are aligned with his will. In Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 19, the Bible says, I call heaven and earth as witnesses today against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both you and your descendants may live. Are you seeing this now? God has a plan. His plan is that we will choose life, but then we have the will. So we'll decide if we must choose life or not choose life. Now, the entirety of this is so that our choice can align with his will. Our choice can align with his plan. Are you seeing this? In Joshua 24 and verse 15, he said, and if it seems evil to you to serve the Lord, choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods your father served that were on the other side of the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose lands you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. This is so important, that God is sovereign, is all-knowing, but man has a choice, the role to play. That role is the responsibility to make a choice. That choice must align. That's God's plan, that man's choice will align with his will. There's a third place I need to drive you to. The exact nature of how God's sovereignty and human choices intersect is a mystery that may not be fully understandable. All right, there are certain things that are beyond us. There are certain things that we cannot give you the entire answer to. How God's plan finally intersects with man's choice is something that we cannot trace. All right, but this is what God really wants, that man's choice will finally meet his plans. And you see, many people believe, and I also believe, that God's sovereignty and human responsibility coexist as a balance, because if we just have God's sovereignty and we don't have human responsibility, it means that humans are now robots, and robots are not created in the image of God. So you see, there is a balance of God being all-knowing. There is another balance of humans having the responsibility to make choices. Are you saying this now? And we expect that God's plan is worked out and is seen when humans make choices. Why does choice matter if God has a plan? If God already has a plan, why does choice matter? Number one, making choices that align with God's will can deepen one's relationship with him and demonstrate obedience. You see, he said, I said before you life and darkness. And he says, I am saying choose life. When you make choices that aligns with God's opinion, that aligns with God's plan, that aligns with God's will, it deepens your relationship with God and it is seen as obedience. Number two, choices can have consequences, and God may use those consequences to shape our individual circumstances. Choices have consequences. When you choose and that choice aligns with God's plan, God uses it to shape our individual circumstances. So it's good to choose what God has planned. It is good to choose the way of the Lord. Number three, humans have been given free will and their choices can reflect their heart and values. You see this? So because God is all-knowing doesn't mean that you will not do what is in your heart. You will not do what you value. If we don't have the power of choices, we will all seem like we are good. Meanwhile, we have other motives in our heart. So God gives us the free will of choice, that even though he has a will, we have the choice and we can decide to not follow his will. And ultimately, our choices will show our heart. It will show the intents of our heart. This is my advice to anyone that wants to learn on this topic. Trusting in God's sovereignty and goodness can bring peace and confidence, even in the face of uncertainty. That you should trust in God's sovereignty. Trust that He is all-knowing and that He can guide you to also make the right choice. Finally, living responsibly and making choices that honor God can be a way to demonstrate faith and obedience. So it is true that God is sovereign and we trust in His sovereignty, but we must live responsibly and in honor to God's choice, in honor to God's will for our lives, in honor to God's plan for our life. It will demonstrate faith and obedience to God. I hope that this answered the question for you. If it did, I would like you to share this video, let others watch it, like, comment. If you have any questions to ask relating to this, put it on the comment section and we may answer it in the next episode. Thank you for joining this episode. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.